So I've tried to figure out how to talk about this to just come out. I've written scripts. I've tried to compile a timeline of everything. I've thought about every document, every piece of evidence, every call, every recording, every screenshot, everything. And instead, I'm just saying fuck it. I'm saying fuck it, and I'm just gonna talk to the microphone. Say whatever comes to my mind. Say whatever I can think of right now while I'm in the midst of one of the lowest emotional points I think I've been in a very long time. So, hey, my name's Kirby. Probably know me as what used to be called Buttons. And this is my story of no, I'm gonna fucking do that. This is me talking about everything that's been going on for the past 4, 5, 6 years. Just saying how I feel at this point. Because at this point, everything I say is just wrong. That's the best way to put it. At this point, I don't feel like a person. I feel like a conduit. I feel like a conduit of whatever people want to be mad at that day. I feel like a conduit of whatever cruelty or haha, this person is so fucking stupid people want to say about me. Because that's how it feels right now. In the past 3 weeks alone, I was broken down to my mental core into screaming and crying at someone the way I did at that kid Douglas in 2018 when I was pushed to my lowest because the Senate brought me into a Discord call and gaslit me about how I should handle my trauma of abuse as a child and how I shouldn't feel affected by it. And then afterwards, I took that anger out on Douglas. I've owned up to that and I talked to him. I want to ask the internet a very simple question. What do you think people deserve to be treated like at this point? How do you think a person on the internet you don't like deserves to be treated? Especially for literal, actual years. Because I can give a rundown of how I've been treated. Ever since the video Lio Convoy made, it's been hell. There's no other fucking way to say it. Everything started because I tried to come forward about my sexual and emotional abuse by my ex-boyfriend that groomed me and assaulted me. And I don't take that back. Things happened that I didn't consent to, either through sexual roleplay or in person. Things that I didn't know were considered forms of non-consenting situations because of how I was raised. That's what kickstarted this all. I tried to come forward about my ex that I don't know what to call it. I just know that things happened that I wasn't comfortable with and I didn't consent to. And I've talked in therapy extensively about it for years. And I know what you're all thinking, but that live stream that happened with Patrick Hart, I can give a simple explanation that if people actually talk to me would understand. When I was in 2018 getting, sorry, this is a very emotionally sore topic for me, and it's not easy to talk about. And that's another thing I wanted this unscripted. I wanted everyone to hear the genuine nature of my voice because people try to say I lie about how I express how I feel at this point. And I don't want that. I just want want to be genuine. So what I have to say is, I'm sorry. In the live stream that happened, you remember me saying, I was wrong. I thought it happened to me too. We worked it out. All of this bullshit. The reason I said that, and I wish I could have clarified back then, when I was talking to him again after everything, it started as I had alerted VivziePop about him and his behavior towards me. And I was like, hey, this guy's going to use you for viewers and popularity, and he's not a good person. I don't think it's going to be good for you. And, maybe I genuinely shouldn't have done that. I was young and dumb and 20, and I was panicking because of my abuser, going around. And I was terrified of what would happen if someone I idolized listened to him. He got upset and he threw a fit. I called the police because the police were already in the park of don't talk to each other. And then that turned into a screaming match on Discord. That screaming match turned to him saying how much he missed me, how he never thought I was a bad person, how fun I was. Typical gaslighting shit. So from that day on, he would have me in Discord calls for hours, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 a day. All day calls at one point for a few weeks. I think I need to apologize if my sense of time is off. I have dissociation from trauma, and that kind of affects your sense of time and how much you understand how much is past or not past. But during those calls, I would be told things like, if you didn't know if it didn't happen, then it didn't. You probably shouldn't say that. You were probably wrong. Da 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 da. Typical gaslighting statements of it didn't happen the way you think it did. Typical things abusers tell you. So when I said that in the live stream, it was a mixture of the guy that I was dating, who had me hide we were dating from everybody at the time in the call, basically watching everything I did under a hawk eye. The kind of relationship he and I had was extremely controlling, to the point that if I had a friend that I wanted that he didn't personally approve of, if I was talking to people who supported me during the time that the harassment was going on after the first breakup, or if it was someone that he knew I had a crush on after we broke up one of the third, fourth, or fifth times, however many times we got back together and shit, it wasn't pretty. It was a lot of emotional abuse and manipulation and yelling and insults and calling me the N-word and saying that I'm dumb, I make everything a problem, saying how I'm a burden and things that have affected me for years. So, no, I didn't lie about abuse. I was manipulated into thinking I wasn't abused. And that's the statement that has carried over and followed me for years, because people think that I lied about being abused. That means that my recent abuser, my rapist, the man that held me hostage in his apartment for a week and assaulted me repeatedly to the point that I was bleeding recently in November, is innocent, because apparently I quote unquote have a habit of lying about abuse. Now, what's happened since that video? As you all may know, after that video came out, I attempted my life. And people think it was for attention because of the video. But that's not the case. What the audience doesn't know is in December of 2019, shortly before the new year for 2020, my brother took his life. He specifically took it on an overdose, and it affected me deeply. Shortly after this event, there was a live stream by the, at the time, Top of the Barrel, where they were taking bets if someone would commit suicide. I won the poll. Things were said about how I should get hit by a truck, how I probably, it's a matter of time of not if, but when I'll kill myself because of how miserable my life is and how I have no capacity to have a good life, and a lot of harassment. Things were even said in the comment section of the memorial video on my page that I've had to delete, but I have screenshot evidence of, saying that my brother took his life because of me, and ever since that happened, I have been told that almost habitually for years my brother took his life because it's my fault. And if he loved me enough, he would be alive still. And considering he took his life, you can imagine how that feels. I have also been told, even before all of this, in 2019, back when the Top of the Barrel was still together and Vito was in it, I don't know if Lio was even aware of this, but I hope he wasn't. Top of the Barrel made it a ritual of telling me that they wanted to rape me, knowing that I am a survivor from childhood, that I deserved my rape as a kid. No wonder it happened to me, asking me if I could get raped, trying to say that they would do it and find my address to do it. And that was a big reason I even stayed with my ex. With these added threats they were giving me, he was threatening to give my information of my address to people behind the scenes. Constantly. It was a subtle thing, though. He would say it could slip to them if he felt I had to have it happen for them to put me in a hospital or something, but we all know that that wouldn't be their intention, knowing how the Senate has been exposed. I did take Lio to court, and everyone is correct about that, but again, the story was skewed. There's a reason they cut my audio portion out of the court hearing, because it says the real reason I took him to court. The reason I took Lio to court for a restraining order hearing is because I had photos of my house docs, I had impersonation accounts made of me, especially ones on sexting apps under my legal name, saying things under my name that were extremely vulgar. I have had my address leaked. Police were being sent falsely to my house, even when I was perfectly mentally sane and fine. And I think we all know by now that Lio does have a habit of doing this to other people, because by the ring call, everyone knows that. Shortly after the Senate video, the harassment only got worse. The one Serafina made about the court case, I mean. After that video, I had a bunch of messages sent to me, either anonymously or on alternate accounts, saying very vulgar sexual things to me. How I deserved my rape as a child. People were happy that I was raped, that I deserved my abusive family's treatment, that were abusive to me, that making jokes about a family member that didn't love me as a child. People have also debated the dissociation I have despite clinical diagnosis, repeatedly, evaluation, and professionals witnessing the dissociation, especially during severe distress. And when people have questioned the dissociation, this has in turn made me question my own trauma. And I've actually had to reach out to some family members to confirm trauma that happened to me as a child. Some things were even revealed to me that I was shocked about. The dissociation being so severe that as a very young child, I wasn't told the exact age. I was only told that I said things a child my age shouldn't say while buttoning my coat. And that someone in my family who I didn't remember got in trouble for some things, and they didn't want to tell me because they knew it would break me. And I think the worst part is knowing that at the time, I can assume, because I remember the other people I lived with at the time, I remembered every face, every name, every person, every voice, but this person, I hear the name and not even the image in my head pops up. I can't remember their face, I can't remember their voice, I can't remember anything, despite remembering everything else about everyone that lived with me at the time. And that's terrifying. People have debated my diagnoses of autism, saying that I'm clearly just narcissistic. People have said that I'm a sociopath. People have made fun of me in various ways, down to saying that I probably only get people being kind to me in real life because they pity me because I look homeless. People have tried to spread false accusations about me mistreating my animal, which I never fucking would. She's my baby and my life, and I love her, and I give her the best I can, to the point that I've sacrificed eating, and I've dumped money on numerous vet visits for her when she wasn't doing well. For context, she doesn't do good when moving to new places, and we moved a couple of times because of life events. And when we would move, she didn't want to drink water, so she can't not drink water. That's not okay. Vet trip visit. Tests were done, medication was given, flea, vaccine, heartworm regularly. She even has prescription cat food for herself because, hydration and vitamins and everything. I love her. Things have been said that have ripped away the fact that I am just a human being at this point. People talk about me like I'm someone to analyze, like I'm a character from a novel. Like I don't have agency, or I don't know how to describe it. For 5 or 6 years, people have said very cruel things about me for laughs. And I just want to know why the internet thinks it's okay to talk about someone they don't like that. If you don't like someone, that's okay. You don't have to talk about them all the time. You don't have to document everything they do. You don't have to debate if they deserve money when they're struggling. You don't have to try to invalidate if they have certain disabilities or diagnoses. You don't have to debate their trauma they had as a child you weren't even there for. It's gotten to be a lot. And I guess I'm just reaching out, and I'm just saying I want it to stop. This is going to sound so fucked up, but the only reason I'm alive, 2 reasons. One, my cat, who I don't want to abandon. I don't want her to go to a new home that I know she'd miss me. And because I have loved ones I know would miss me, that I I don't want them to hurt. And you can sit there and say, why don't you just go offline? And I have. And when I got offline, people got bored. That's when the impersonation accounts were made to get me back. That's when people in my real life were documented and contacted. My brother was doxxed this year. People have tried to find where I work. And that's what gets to me. I'm not the only victim of this. It feels like the minute you are even a friend of mine, you are immediately subject to harassment, to people saying horrific things to or about you. People have been hurt by what these people have done because I exist. And I think that's one of the worst feelings to ever have. That you just sit there and you think that because you exist, people are going to get hurt if they even talk to you. I don't know what else I can say. I've given as many apologies for my past actions as I have. Yes, I made a Nazi character that I'm not proud of, and I wasn't proud of even at the time the video was made. In fact, that's something that's always bothered me. I was talked to by people, and I wanted a character for historic accuracy. Yes, I drew my character in a fucking Nazi outfit in My Little Pony because I was in a chat room with a bunch of Nazis who encourage toxic behavior. And when you're with an abusive partner who runs essentially a cult-like thing, like the Senate or Limbo was, you go with the crowd because you're kind of expected to, for not only your partner's sake, but for the people around you that are really fucking cruel to you if you just don't behave a certain way. People asked me how it felt to be raped as a kid as a joke in that chat room. People targeted my trauma to the point that I was broken. I was broken mentally over time. And there's no defense for that kind of behavior. There's no defense for my behaviors in the past either. I have apologized personally to people that I said racist things to. I know I said racist things, and I'm not proud of it because I was raised against it. I have mixed family that I have mixed family, and I was raised against that, and I feel deep shame about that every day. I think the internet doesn't recognize that just because you've done something in your past, even if you regret it and you don't do the behavior anymore, it doesn't that doesn't define who you are as a person. It defines a point of time in your life where you did something you're not proud of. I don't defend what I did. I can explain the fact that I was in a certain environment that bred certain behaviors that ultimately culminated in the behavior I displayed. That doesn't excuse it. I've apologized to the people I've said it to, and I've even apologized to my family that have, you know, mixed race because I felt like that was wrong of me considering how I was raised. I've apologized to as many people I've hurt as I can, but what I can't apologize for are the people that have hurt me that don't want to admit it or own up to what they've done either. There are people that I can't apologize to because what did I do? I stepped away when I was done being hurt. I said, I'm sorry, but I have to separate. I said, I'm sorry, but if you associate with this person that has made it her mission to hurt and stalk and harass me for years after I told you she did, I can't be in your life anymore. And that's the thing that my therapists and people have talked to me about. The minute you step away from people, even if they were kind to you, you set a boundary, all of a sudden they get upset and they feel it's their right to say things that are not okay about you to these people, and these people are just gonna fucking listen. I've had so much fucking happen, and I think the worst thing that's happened out of all of this is my rapist is being defended right now. The man that did what he did to me, to the point that I have bruises, photos of I had bruises, and there's permanent psychological damage from it that I'm still undoing. That person has been shielded and defended. And if I've tried to apologize to people and they don't want to hear it, that's also their prerogative. But I don't think it gives people a right to just say the things they do about me online either. I don't think people understand that the words they say have weight to them. I've been told that I'm a waste of a human. I've been told I should take my life. I've been given instructions on how to take my life. I've been told numerous things about my body, how ugly I am. I've had transphobic comments slung at me, said I don't deserve to be a man, that I'm not going to be a man, that I don't want to say the sexually vulgar things that have said to me because, frankly, I think this video will get taken down if I repeat what has been said. But I guess I just want people who say the things they do, who look at me like I'm an object of entertainment, and I don't know. You can be mad at me, you can hate me, you can not like me. I understand that. But why do you do the things you do? Why do you talk about me as if I don't have emotions? As if I'm not a person that has been hurt, that is hurting, that's just existing, trying to live my life. There are days that I just sit in my bedroom and I get up, I feed my cat, and then I feed myself, and I just sit there. I dissociate. I watch videos because the stimuli distracts me from the thoughts that I do want to be alive. I want the pain to end. That I want I want the world to be silent for a moment. That I want to stop existing. And I think if you've endured 6 years of the fraction I've described of things, there are probably things that have happened to me I can't even remember right now because it's overwhelming. I'm not asking people to like me. I'm not asking people to think I'm a good person. You don't have to, I get that. I'm asking for the harassment and treating me like I am not a person to stop. I don't know what else to say. Except I want it to stop. I'm being as vulnerable as I can right now. As far as the manga jag shit, that's not what happened with the money. I forgot. And I did return the money to him at one point. When I was finally financially stable enough, I returned I think it was like $375. Because, yeah, I shouldn't have refunded GoFundMe. Just because I thought that he was using the money to get out of a bad home. So I thought that because he wasn't in the bad home anymore meant that, there was no need for it anymore, and that was wrong of me. And I did return that money to him. And I wish people would shut up about it, God. I hate myself every fucking day for that. I didn't know. I genuinely did not know. I can recognize that I shouldn't have been negligent, and I shouldn't have stood by him, even though I loved him. But I did not willingly know what kind of a person he was. Because as someone who's been through a lot, I wouldn't defend that. Unfortunately, because of my childhood with the assaults and grooming I've had as a kid, certain things fell under the radar for me of what entailed grooming with the BDSM and 50 Shades of Grey discussion. He made it seem like he was just trying to educate Jordan about that, and I was naive and dumb about that. But the minute I saw he was genuinely saying how attractive Jordan was and saying genuinely vile things about someone who wasn't 18, I confronted him and I told him that wasn't right. And he even tried to excuse it with the laws of his state and how he was just letting her down easy. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the conversation itself. He is a man. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to misgender. I was remembering the wires in my brain. He was not. Fuck. What I'm trying to say is I confronted him and he tried to excuse it, and I broke it off with him, and I blocked him, and I made sure that everyone in my life did not associate with him and people were aware. I would never allow someone in my life who does that to kids and defend that if I know, especially with what I've been through as a child myself. So I know I apologized to Jordan years ago, and I don't remember what exactly I said. I wish I did. But I am sorry about that. I'm being vulnerable right now. I just want everything to go away. I'm only alive for the people that love me. And that's not a way to live. You're allowed to not like me. You are. I'm not going to say you have to. I guess I just want you to sit there and consider why you think it's okay for all of this stuff to be said. Making fun of my body, making fun of me, saying I don't deserve relationships, saying this stupid narrative that I think every person I've ever been with romantically is abusive to me. When I'm friends with half my exes and some exes I just don't have contact with because we mutually understand it's, not right. We're just not fit to talk to each other, but that doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person, just fucking means we're not good for each other. Some people have hurt me and don't want to own up to that. And I'm not going to say they were abusive outright, but I'm going to say it was unhealthy and it caused harm. There are things I've done too. I've run away. I ran away when I was scared that I was going to get hurt. And that happened a couple times. But I'm sorry if this is a jumble and a mess, and I'm lost and I'm tired. I've become so physically tired from all of this. And just to show this is genuine, I'm not editing this at all. This is on OBS with my fucking Clip Studio Paint open, just so I have something on the screen to show when it's recorded. I'm just very, very tired. Physically and emotionally. I've become a shell of a person. I don't know. After the trauma in November with the person who assaulted me, and I lost everything I own, even the stuff my brother gave me before he died. And I lost myself as a person. I lost my future. I lost my will. It slowly just got worse and worse. And I did attempt my life in February, and I was even hospitalized because of what happened after. And the only reason I'm not going to a hospital right now is because I don't want to lose my apartment. I've worked hard for it, and it's the life that I'm finally building for myself. I want to be out of work and not be able to make money for rent, So I'm just saying to the internet, you cannot like me, but just please stop. Just let me exist. I don't hurt animals. I don't hurt children. I don't do anything that I'm just trying to exist. I don't invalidate things have happened that have caused harm to others in my past, like with the stupid BS with Charlister, with the harassment I did there, and like I said when I made those that OC, and I said those racist things, and I know that harm has been caused, but I also recognize that I'm just trying to be better. I've been trying, and all I personally ask is let me try, let me exist, let me just be. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just tired. Thanks.